Good morning.
I hope you're well.
God is faithful.
Okay, when we're concluding. But first, I'm sure you watched her entire press conference. First of all, your own impressions.
So once again, good morning, and good morning to your cherished listeners and viewers online. Well, first of all, she has a right, like any other Ghanaian, to address the press if she strongly feels about any. But the content of the press briefing rather betrayed a certain lack of tact. And I felt that the person who has risen to that high office will be a bit more cautious than what I saw yesterday. In listening to her, I got the sense that she's gotten to the position where she doesn't mind destroying the judiciary. And I felt it was completely unnecessary. Look, almost every issue raised by her, one way or the other, had a remedy other than a press conference.
Almost every issue.
Every issue had a remedy rather than a press conference. So, for instance, you say that the petition was filed by an unknown group through your verification at the Registrar General. Raise it as a preliminary legal offence, correct? If somebody doesn't have capacity, can that be judicially determined? In any case, okay? In any case, we were in this country when some faceless people, in fact, one was even dead, petitioned for the removal of Charlotte Osei. Or you forgotten?
No, I remember vividly.
Dead man. Huh? You say that the allegations are unfounded. Is that not what you address at the hearing? True. You said the petition was not admitted in evidence. Who admits originating processes in evidence? If I issue a writ, which they say, in fact, if you look at CI 47, the definition section, a writ is defined to include a petition. When I go for a hearing, my writ is not admitted in evidence. It is not done anywhere. Huh? You said, some of the things were simply red herring. Huh? Look, I don't know whether to say the most bizarre. I don't know if that expression is proper. The most bizarre of all the things that she said was to link current happenings to the dastardly act involving the murder of the 3 High Court judges and the military officer. What is the next source? Now to say, Major Samakwa was my uncle, and this, and that, and that, and what is that? An emotionally sensitive matter like the murder of the judges, which happened about 43 years ago. Why would you want to invoke it in today's conversation, Senna?
But she also says that the choice of that place is traumatic to her.
First of all, was it the place that the judges were murdered?
No.
We are told that the judges were picked from their respective houses, correct? And eventually, they were found at a military range in Bondasi. Do you know Bondasi?
Quite well.
After Pram Junction.
Yes, on the road to my hometown. So
yes, on the road to your hometown. Yeah. What is the connection between that location and Castle Osu? In any case, Edu Lodge, do you know who prepared it?
Educated.
After this, I'm sending you. Hello, Senna.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
I'm sending you a video right away. Maybe you may have to pause my interview with you briefly and play this video to the hearing of your viewers and listeners. It was President Akufo-Addo who basically worked it out. And Senna, you should listen to what Akufo-Addo said when he opened the facility. I'm surprised you've not seen the video.
President Akufo-Addo opened the Edu Lodge facility.
I've sent the video to you. You can give it to your producers to play it. And listen, when Akufo-Addo opened the facility, do you know what he said? Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you. Very attentively.
When Akufo-Addo opened the place, he was full of praise for the place. And these were his words. Let me see. He said, Edu Lodge, the state diplomatic facility, was named after Amishadai Lawson Edu. Listen up. Ghana's pioneering Deputy Secretary General of the Commonwealth Secretariat.
Okay.
And Akufo-Addo said, one of Ghana's pioneering patrons is Lawson Edu. And that the decision to even name the place after him was to demonstrate his enduring legacies and values and his contribution to Ghana's international standing. That is the place Madame Torkornoo says is invoking memories of 1982. I mean, my brother. At this point, our chief justice have crossed the line.
crossed a line.
Yeah, crossed the line.
Which line?
No. She's engaged in direct and active politics.
Engage in direct and active politics.
Yes.
How?
That is politics. It is to incite the public against the regime. That's politics. Pure and simple. There are no ifs, there are no buts.
Is that the impression you get from listening to the entire press conference? The suggestion of the fact that this is a whole political agenda against her?
Yes.
That she's doing politics.
Pure.
Inciting the public against the regime.
Yes.
And you're saying that the basis for making these claims, all of the issues she raised about the hearings can all be addressed.
Legally. When you say, look, when somebody sues me, and he sues me in the name of a company, do you know what I do? Do you know what I do?
Educate us. Exactly how do you go about that?
The first thing is I'll do a search at the Registrar General Department.
Okay.
Well, depending on the outcome of the search, once the search shows that the company does not exist in the records of the Registrar General, I'll do a preliminary legal objection as to capacity.
Okay.
That it is not a legal person and therefore cannot sue or be sued. First, why is she not using that option?
They should have raised that as a legal objection.
Preliminary objection.
Okay.
Unless, of course, she knows that capacity is not required. The purposes of a petition for the removal of Superior Court judges.
That you do not require capacity.
That is the only reason.
He said, unless, of course, she knows. Is that your opinion that the issue of capacity does not arise?
It does not. I told you how dead people even petition for the removal of Charlotte Hotel.
But she says she is the first CJ to go through this process. So there should be some learning that should be applied. And they should be carefully conducted. Because you're dealing with perhaps is it the fourth most powerful person in the country?
First of all, what it means is that the Supreme Court, is the wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution. They envisage that the Chief Justice can be removed, correct?
Oh, yes, clearly.
And made a provision for it, correct?
Yes.
So what is she talking about? Once the framers of the Constitution envisioned that we may get to a point where a CJ can misconduct himself, they provided this. It is also not the case. Supreme Court judges have been the subject of this process. The fact that it terminated one way or the other does not mean that she's the first CJ to go. In any case, Chief Justice Akwa, a petition came against him. So now, yes, Chief Justice Akwa. Bright Akweti, the respected lawyer, brought a petition for the removal of Akwa. President Kufuor actually received it. At the point, that process was challenged at the Supreme Court. That is how it got truncated. It doesn't mean that it has never happened before.
What about the issues she raised about the fact that as CJ, some courtesies should be extended to her?
Like what?
She feels that she should not be searched thoroughly as it happens, her handbags and everything before the hearing. That defies the very courtesies that are supposed to be extended.
Listen. The proceedings is supposed to be what? Done in camera. Then you come there with your husband. Then you want your husband to sit in the proceedings. So now how is this turn up? Sana.
That very request.
Look, when she came with her lawyer, Senior Ayikwe Otu, she wanted her husband to go with her into the process. A proceeding that the Constitution itself says should be in camera proceedings. Secret. How? Shana, in fairness, how?
You see, then she talks about the fact that on day one when she was not present, the committee refused to recognize the lawyer.
Is the lawyer not senior you go to? What form of recognition? In fact, it was senior close to who went in and discussed that, oh, this is how the Chief Justice feels. And now if the committee members and Justice Plaman then asked him that, are you good? You're a very senior lawyer. Is that your understanding of in-camera proceeding? I mean, you maybe know better. And that is how the matter ended.
You seem to be surprised at the fact that she even held a press conference at all.
I am completely shocked.
Why is this a big problem when you admit that it's a right?
Oh, I have read a few pages of the Bible. There's one that says, we have the right to do everything, but it's not everything that is prudent. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm fortified by that biblical saying.
We have the right to do everything.
Yes.
But not everything is permitted.
Fantastic.
Well, then she goes ahead to discuss even some of the things she said against the petitions that have been brought against her, the contents of those petitions. And
it's an invitation that is blatantly unconstitutional. I'll decline it. Look, let me tell you something today. You know President Mahama?
Yes.
Me, I've never seen any fair-minded president like him before. This Chief Justice, listen carefully. When her name came up for Supreme Court, at that time, the NDC were in opposition. The matter went before the political committee of the party. Today, dear, forgive me to disclose this.
Okay.
It is chaired by then President Mahama, like candidate or whatever. He said, the minority, all of you give your blessings to her approval. Yes. Do you know why?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who took her to the Court of Appeal?
The person who took her from the High Court to the Court of Appeal?
Yes.
No.
The process started from President Mills.
Mm-hmm.
It was under NDC that she got Court of Appeal. So, when the NDC decided to promote, when an NDC president decided to promote her
Mm-hmm.
to the Court of Appeal, they didn't know that she was the niece of Major Tamaklo. Senna. Look, President Mahama at the meeting said nobody should oppose her nomination to become the Chief Justice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What else can a man do? Who sworn in President Mahama? President Mahama took the oath of office before her, correct?
Yes.
What were the things President Mahama said? I shall bear true faith and allegiance to who? Ghana. And I shall uphold and preserve the Constitution. The things that are happening, are they not constitutionally sanctioned? Why is she inviting President Mahama to disregard the constitutional provision? Huh? Sana, I don't want to go further.
I see. Well, since you see, let me conclude on this one. You said a discussion of the contents of the petitions blatantly unconstitutional.
Because
are there consequences for it? Because she's currently the subject of the hearings, but disclosing these things in the public domain and inviting a discussion from every one of us.
No, it's an invitation we must decline.
It's an invitation we must decline.
We must decline it and decline it and decline it. I'm not going to discuss the merits or otherwise of this matter. Never. I'll decline it with speed and purpose. In fact, I'll run away from it.
But is there a grand plan to ensure that no matter what, she leaves office?
The committee, unfortunately, she insults the intelligence of the committee members. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. It saddens me. Look, Domelevo has risen to this level on merit and hard work. Greatly respected. Justice Plummer, distinguished jurors, Asibi, distinguished Supreme Court judge. You know the interesting thing. So now, do you know the interesting thing?
No.
When Vincent Asifua first issued the petition, the writ, challenging the processes for the removal of the CJ, the first panel, who empaneled them?
That was the CJ herself.
Do you know Asibi was part of that?
The initial panel that was subsequently changed?
Yes.
I think that has come up, yes.
Asiedu was one of the judges. So at the time she was empaneling Asiedu, we never believed that he would uphold his judicial oath. Please.
And he seems to have a particular problem, not with Asiedu, but with Justice Poama.